We'll call the meeting of December 14th to order, and we'll start with the invocation, which will be done by our city clerk, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilmember Chung Vo. Will you please rise?
Let us pray. Father, we ask for your blessing over these proceedings. Thank you for the health of our elected and appointed officials, city staff, and all of their loved ones. And we ask for you to bestow the same blessings on the members of our Cerritos community. Thank you for the opportunity to fulfill our calling, for the ability to be involved in useful work, and for the honor of bearing these responsibilities. Amen.
Thank you.
All right, if everyone can face the flag, right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vita and Chung. And Vita, may we have a roll call, please?
Council Agency Member Johnson.
Present.
Council Agency Member Vo.
Present.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki.
Present.
Mayor and Chair Barrows.
Present. Next, we have presentations. I think we have one. We have with us tonight Alan Strickland, who's being presented a plaque tonight by the City Council in commemoration of his retirement after 25 years with the City of Cerritos. He began his career in 1998 as a house coordinator at our Performing Arts Center as part of the front of the house management team. He is responsible for organizing and coordinating activities related to the patron services, including security, volunteers, ticket takers, concessionaires, as well as artist hospitality and transportation. Alan has provided exceptional customer service to our patrons at every performance. Alan has a Bachelor's of Arts degree in journalism from Cal State University, Los Angeles, and has previously worked for the Orange County Performing Arts Center and the La Mirada Theater for the Performing Arts Center. I'd like to ask Alan to join me over here to the right, and also the theater executive director, Jeff Thielke, to join me in recognizing his accomplishments. Okay. We have our plaque that you've earned, and we're very pleased to present this to you on behalf of our residents and the City Council and our staff. And we also, just to keep your hands full, we have a certificate from Sharon Quicksilva from the Assembly, recognizing your service also. And would you like to say a word?
Every night for the last 25 years at the theater, every performance, I get to do briefings for our arts ambassadors and volunteers, for our security staff, and for all the rest of the staff, the front of house staff. And I can honestly say this, that I've never felt like I've had to go to work. I feel like I've gotten to go to work at the Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts. It has been a joy. I'm going to miss it a lot. And working with just all the people who came out tonight, thank you. But all the hundreds of arts ambassadors that we've had over the years. And again, being able to see council and all the VIPs and the great performances. And I think the thing I'm most looking forward to is actually coming to the Art Center and seeing a show. I have not seen a whole performance in over 25 years because I'm always working them. So it's something I'm very much looking forward to. But all this means so much. So thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Jeff, before I give it to you. Joe, I didn't see you sitting there. Would you like to come up and say something on behalf of your Assemblywoman? Oh, yeah, I didn't do a good job, so. Okay. Jeff?
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. First of all, of course, it's appropriate that we have such a huge audience for you tonight, representing the theater department and the great Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts. Thank you all for being here. I'll just say a few brief words. I've known Alan for all of his 25 years here with the city of Cerritos, but really got to know him, started to get to know him about 20 years ago. And I can tell you without a doubt that he exudes customer service. He takes care of our patrons. He takes care of our artists. And I think that's what we're going to miss most about Alan, not being here at the theater. But I'll tell you that the legacy will live on. You've set a very good standard for your team and for the volunteers. And I think that the spirit of that will continue on for many, many years to come. And you are, of course, always welcome to come back. You do have to buy a ticket, though. That is very important. But with that, the good news is we do have a fantastic, on behalf of the city of Cerritos, a gold card for you that gives you access to some of the facilities, including the library and the golf course, I believe, among a couple other facilities, for your life. That's it, lifetime gold card. And well earned, and thank you so very much for 25 years of outstanding service to the great city of Cerritos.
Stay here for the photo.
Okay.
We're going to run you off.
Okay.
You gonna hold any of those for you?
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta hold it for the photo.
Okay. Got it.
You get it tilted this way.
Okay.
The other way. No, that way.
We'll do it before or after.
After. Okay.
Allow you to do that.
Should we step down? We'll step down here and then council.
I'll step down. No, actually, man, stay on top.
If I sit down, then you'll look a lot taller.
Fantastic.
Okay, how's this?
You might block them though. You should be in the front.
I'm good.
No, we'll just step up there.
There you go.
Three photos. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
I'd like to invite his family up.
And Alan is asking if his family can come up for a photo.
Thank you.
You're going to tell.
Okay.
Are we going to be in that family?
Kristen and Susan Strickland, come on down.
Thank you for all the years.
Thank you.
You've done a great job.
It has been a joy. It has absolutely been a joy to, again, that building's been my office for the last 25 years.
You have a big office.
I won the lottery when I got there.
Stepping off.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Who's gonna rush me to my meet and greets now? Thank you.
No, I want you guys to hold this, and then you guys can take a photo together.
Maybe in the middle?
Let me be honest.
Yeah.
It's all about me today.
Yes.
Three photos. Oh, that's nice. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Probably do.
Oh, do you want the team, the staff to all come up and take photos?
Could we? Yeah. Can you guys come down?
Oh.
That's exactly what I just told her. Have him get up, it's over.
Good job, buddy.
I was all shut up. Thanks.
All right, perfect.
Let me
be back here. I'm always. Mr. Todd?
Oops, sorry.
I think you guys should hold out.
As he lays
No, I'm taller than you. Absolutely. I'm all taller now.
Right on down. There you go.
Short, go there.
Come on down.
It's like a production. It is like a production.
Photos ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Deserves it.
Sorry, I always break the rules. Pull me up.
You're right.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is there any appointments amongst council? Hearing none, we'll move to public comments. We'll open for public comments.
Pardon
Comments
me,
from-
Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, there is
Please,
the
vote.
selection of the voting delegate and alternate for the ICA, and I'll defer to
Thank
City
you.
Manager Robert Lopez.
Yeah, I looked right over it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This item 5B will be presented by Ms. Nava, and following that, she and our staff would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, on November 27, 2023, the City Council approved city membership in the Independent Cities Association, or ICA. As a result of that action, the City Council may now select among its membership one council member to serve as the voting delegate and one council member to serve as the alternate on the ICA Board of Directors. This concludes my report. At this time, it would be appropriate for the council to open public comments and commence deliberation on this item. The city clerk, city manager, and I are available to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you, Cindy and Vita and Robert. We got all three of you in on it. I'll open for public comments first. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comments. I'll ask, is there anyone that's interested in being on it?
I am, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Is there any objection then to having Linda be the representative? Seeing none, that'll be the consensus, for the council, be unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, on a alternate, is there someone that wishes to be the alternate? Well, don't everybody speak up at one time. Well, Frank, you've been going to the meetings, in the conferences. Would you be willing to be the alternate?
I would be willing to be the alternate. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is there any objection? Seeing none, that'd be the order also. Okay, now we'll move on to public comments. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council on anything besides the items we have before us tonight? Okay, if you can fill out a card, you can come on up and you can address this, from the podium there.
Bruce, when you go to speakers, there's a list of names of everybody on there.
evening, Mayor, City Council.
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Margaret, Mrs. Villa, Margaret Villa.
Thank you.
What is our speaking time? 5 minutes or 3?
Yes, it is.
Okay. For over 2 months, I have felt helpless, like many Americans, observing our government fund 2 wars and a genocide. I'm here tonight in solidarity with the people of Palestine and all the people of Gaza. I stand united with the Asian and Latin American countries, the Black Alliance for Peace, Code Pink, Doctors Without Borders, the Gray Zone, Abby Martin, Richard Medhurst, Jewish Voices for Peace, Mint Press News, Eva Bartlett, The Convo Couch, Vanessa Beeley, the Pope, and along with many others around the world. It is with deep sadness to be here tonight during this Christmas time. The housing crisis in California and the brutal occupation of Palestine and the siege of Gaza are 2 sides of the same coin. U.S. imperialism takes money away from the people to pay for war and weapons, enrich the contractors, and monopolize coveted resources. The United States provides 3.8 billion in military aid to Israel every year, and a pledge is renewed every 10 years, doesn't matter who sits in the White House, Republican or Democrat, while America goes without. I ask tonight that you adopt immediately H.R. 786 and cement a permanent ceasefire. Show that you are a steward of peace. End this escalation, end the genocide, end the occupation. Tonight, Cerritos, do the right thing as other cities have done. Adopt this ceasefire. I implore you. Put yourself on the map. The United States is funding 2 goddamn wars, and we go without. Yeah, you can look at me all you want, but there are homeless behind my house. Homeless. We're giving health care to Israel. How is that possible? I just discovered this. It breaks my heart. For 15 years, we have been feeding the homeless. And for 15 years, we see it grow and grow. The unhoused are not taken care of, but we're sending billions for 2 wars. Give me those odd eyes again. I am angry tonight. I've been more angry in 2 months, my family witnessing this. All these countries, we're not gonna let up. This isn't gonna let up. It's a shame. And we're doing something so minor by adopting a ceasefire. So minor. Look at Cudahy. I'm telling you, if anybody has seen anything, and I'm not talking about your fake book or your Instagram, I'm talking Telegram, where they are murdering the press. They're suppressing the truth. What do we do after we don't have the press? Take what we get from mainstream media? Please do the right thing. I yield my time.
Our next speaker is going to be Ernie Nishi, board member of the ABC Unified School District.
Hi, thank you. I wanted to first thank each one of you city council members for the service. Actually, not just you, but your families, the sacrifice that you spend all the times that you spend going to the ribbon cuttings and these meetings and searching and making sure that our city has got the best resources, the best representation, and the best of everything. So as a resident, I applaud and thank you for your service.
And second thing, I wanted just to let you know that I'm on a liaison between the ABC School District and this city. So if you have any questions related to the school district, hopefully I can answer them accurately. And I don't speak for the school board, but I can actually help communicate. So if there's any bridge between our bodies of education and your municipal body, that we can both work together and maybe pool resources, or maybe do things that all of our residents can appreciate and enjoy. And I would like to be part of your person that you can get a hold of. So if you need to get a hold of me, my email address is ernie.nisii@abcusd.us. And of course, you can go to your regular person that you go to at the district, but use me as a resource. I aim to serve our particular city in our school district. Thank you.
Ernie, thank you. Okay, our last speaker is Teddy Lloyd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just don't want the city to know every time people here are complaining, they're, upset about something. I just want to thank the city of Cerritos and the mayor and city council members. You're gonna say for what? For what happened last Thursday? Because the Parks and Recreation Commission approved unanimously for pickleball courts at Liberty Park. And I'm very, very excited, and not only myself, but also quite a few other players in Cerritos. And earlier, Linda Johnson asked, are you coming? I'd say, I'm very, very happy. I just want to thank the city. And what I want to share with the city of Cerritos is that last week, Thursday, as I said, the Parks and Recreation Commission voted 5-0 unanimously for pickleball courts at the Liberty Park. And it was put together by the staff of Parks and Recreation Commission, Recreation Department, and came up with several different ideas and on and on. And I think the Park Commission felt the best solution is to have dedicated pickleball courts. So in so doing, other cities are doing exactly that. And just recently, City of Carson, City of Long Beach, just completed pickleball courts, taking 2 tennis courts, making into 8 pickleball courts. And City of Carson just had a grand opening event last Saturday. So in any case, I just want to ask the city of Cerritos if you can, since it's been approved by the Parks and Recreation Commission, would it be possible to speed it up, or is it something that we residents suppose? I know sometimes it seems like if I want to do something for my own property, I'll get it done next week. But sometimes with the city, always seems like gotta go through. It takes like a couple months or 3 months. And one idea is, suppose we donate the money and then the city approved and pay us back. Several people are even making that suggestion. So, any case, the ideas would be available, and I'll be more than happy to work with the city staff to figure out what would be the best way. And usually, converting the tennis court into pickleball courts takes only about 3 or 4 days. It doesn't take that long, okay? And I'm not sure what the city of Cerritos would be doing now. The Parks Commission had already approved that, and then hopefully that can be speed up, and if need be, maybe right after New Year, okay? So again, and I want to mention that other cities are doing that, and including, as I mentioned, City of Carson and Long Beach, and also City of La Mirada. They did it for the first court first, that was back in February, January, and now they're doing it for the second court. Whereas Liberty Park has 6 tennis courts, so the idea would be taking tennis court number 1 and number 2, and then I believe the Parks Commission saying maybe doing first court first, and then later on do a second court, each court would have 4 pickleball courts. So again, it's a good idea. And I just want to share that with the city council and the mayor to let you know that that decision was so excited. Merry Christmas. I know it's great that we have that. So thanks, Linda Johnson, for suggesting that. And I want to thank the city, and I'm very grateful. I'm not someone who will always complain to the city every time there's something wrong. Just like recently, the city replaced some of the light at sports complex. And I'm very, very happy for that. I even mentioned it to the staff. I say, that's great, that's terrific. We're happy about it. Okay, so any case, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Merry Christmas
you very
to you
much.
also. Thank you. Robert, would you like to answer about when?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The resident.
Pardon, I need to make public comment before you continue.
Not yet. I haven't called you up. Have you filled out your name, for the card and stuff?
I don't have to, according to the Brown Act.
Okay, well then, just, hang on. We're
Yeah,
trying
no
to answer a
problem.
question.
Continue.
We're trying to answer a question from the previous person.
Continue.
Thank you, Mayor. As the resident mentioned, the Parks and Recreation Commission recently did consider the topic of pickleball courts. The commission did make a recommendation. They are a recommending body, and they did make a recommendation related to potential pickleball courts at Liberty Park. Staff is currently preparing an agenda report that will be presented to the City Council in the new year, following up on that recommendation for final consideration by the City Council. So we will be preparing a report that follows up on prior council consensus action, and we will be seeking final direction from the City Council in the new year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that gives you an idea. It's going to come back to us, okay, in January. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, council members. My name is Juan Martinez. I am the delegate for the Democratic Party for the 64th District. Very glad to be here. I really love how the city is here. I came here to discuss 2 topics mainly. The first one is to address Hughes from Hughes News. He's one of your circulating papers. And I will say that the gentleman has written a lot of slanderous, a lot of lies on his paper. He constantly covers the Central Basin, in which he makes false allegations about members of the public. He implies that there's collusion with certain elected officials on the board. And he's been offered many times the chance through emails and even through litigation to retract most of his libelous statements. In my opinion, he's an embarrassment to the city, and he is not only going to eventually get sued for a lot of his false claims, but if you are someone that cares about the news propaganda that gets pushed out from this individual because he's representing your cities in his title, you should reach out to him and ask him what is going on at the Central Basin Municipal Water District. So that's the first part. The last point, which is my second point, is simply in regards to the ceasefire adoption. More countries within the UN are supporting a ceasefire, including our own allies. We are laughably outnumbered in the sense that everyone seems to understand that this is a genocide against the Palestinian people. And only Israel and the United States and England seem to be the ones who want to maintain this narrative that this is a war, that it's Israel's right to exist. There's a lot of talking points, a lot of propaganda. And because of this, we are living through a time where genocide is happening during our lifetimes. When we look back at what happened to the Jews in World War II, we ask ourselves, how could this have happened? And it is clear now as we're living through one that it was because elected officials and politicians of their time stuck to their talking points and took no action. There was no consensus between government and its people. On a social media scale, on a population scale, there are more people that support the ceasefire in Gaza. There are more people that understand that what's happening in Palestine and the West Bank is a genocide. It is apartheid. There are war crimes being committed, carpet bombing, using white phosphorus, having people have their homes invaded in the night, people being locked into their own homes, being sealed in and can't get out. Various crimes that are available to you in social media. If you guys have a TikTok, don't know how you guys feel about a Chinese app, but it has a lot of information on what's really going on. So just like many cities like Cudahy and San Francisco are now beginning to support their population, I believe that Cerritos can add to that power by supporting a resolution and a ceasefire. And I know that it's tough because AIPAC is funding a majority of the House. There's just a bill that went through saying that talking about against Zionism or the Israeli government is equal to anti-Semitism, which is not the case. You should be able to criticize the government and its policies, and you should be able to question ideology, which is based on nationalism. If you guys help adopt a resolution for a ceasefire, you will be showing not only your community that you are with the Palestinian people and the Muslim community, but you will also be showing your community and the rest of the world that we will not allow groups like AIPAC to control and manipulate the narrative. So I strongly, strongly hope that you will adopt this resolution, that you will maintain for a ceasefire, and that you do it with pride, because in doing so, you will be fighting the genocide of your lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council at this point?
Good evening. My name is Yuri Preciado. I'm also here in solidarity with Palestine. I'll keep it short and simple. I'm urging my community leaders, you, the city council members, to call for a ceasefire. As the gentleman just explained, there is a genocide happening on our watch and also on our dime. And it is an atrocity, and I hate to see it happen. And I am urging you guys to call for a ceasefire. Please. Thank you. Good evening.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council at this point? Seeing none, we'll close public comments, move on to the
Mayor,
consent calendar.
pardon me
Oh,
if I
I'm
may.
sorry, you do have someone to,
Thank you. I do.
yes, some
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Written correspondence submitted by the deadline listed on the agenda is considered public record. Prior to the meeting, the council and agency members received copies of the full-text unredacted written correspondence that was submitted for this item. Public requests for copies of the written correspondence submitted for this meeting can be made during regular business hours to the office of the city clerk. Jonathan Hawes requested the City Council pass a resolution related to allegations made against the El Monte City Council and staff. Malik Tariq Mahmoud Morabi Silsila commented regarding his personal faith beliefs, and there were no other items of written correspondence that were submitted for item number 6.
Thank you. Okay, we move on to the consent calendar, and I'm going to ask that we pull 7E and 7I, for make them separate. Are there other items to be pulled? Okay, can we have a motion for the balance of the consent calendar?
Motion to approve the balance of the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Vita, can we do a roll call, please?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. A motion has been made by Councilmember Yokoyama and seconded by Councilmember Johnson to approve the balance of the consent calendar with the exception of items 7E and 7I. At this time, a roll call vote will be conducted. Council and Agency Member Johnson?
Aye.
Council Agency Member Vo?
Aye.
Council Agency Member Yokoyama?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Vice Chair Solanki?
Aye.
Mayor and Chair Barrows?
Aye.
The item passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, 7E, if I can just ask staff for a staff report. I've only pulled it for one reason, and it's more on the next item, but this one is, we've had a lot of public interest on the rehab for the facilities. And if we can just help highlight that, if you could.
Certainly, Mayor. Item 7E relates to an award of contract for renovation of turf fields, sports fields at the sports complex. This is part of our capital improvement program and does follow up on inquiries that we've received from the City Council as well as members of our community. For details, I'm going to defer to Mr. Simoes, and he and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, council members and mayor. Thank you for the opportunity. This agenda report is for the request to award a contract to rehabilitate and regrade the fields at the sports complex. Originally, staff opened bids back in July, and we did not receive, we did receive a bid, but it did not meet the requirements of the specifications, and so we have re-put out the project and rebid it, and we have received one bid in conjunction with the project. After vetting the contractor and looking through their application, they do in fact meet all the requirements, and they are prepared and capable of performing the improvements. The improvements will regrade and import soil as well as remove soil that has been damaged over the years for sports fields 3, 4, 5, and 6 at the Cerritos Sports Complex. If awarded tonight, this project would be completed during the months of May through September of 2024.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of staff? I only have one. You know, the 600,000, 630,000 was quite a jump up in what we anticipated. But I know everyone's been looking to have the fields rehabilitated. I'll open to the public for comments on this item. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council on 7E? Seeing none, we'll close public comments and look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I guess we can just, instead of doing a roll call vote, just vote with the.
We can use the computer.
Do what?
We can use the computer now.
I know that. Yes. That's what I said.
Mm-hmm.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, thank you, Vita. Okay, on item 7I, on basically the bottom of page 2 and page 3 of the report, it talks about the 48% increase in expenses by the city of Long Beach to provide animal control services for the city. And then over on page 3, it kind of links towards the bottom. It's worth noting that the fees collected for the Cerritos pet licenses are offset a small portion. Long Beach has put a cost of living, or COLA, if you will, or increase on their fees to us, in addition to the 48% increase, for the cost. Can we have staff kind of cover the report, for the public, and then the council ask questions?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This item relates to continuation of animal control services provided by City of Long Beach. For details of this report, I'm going to defer to Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Mayor Barrows and council members. Before you is item 7I, and as mentioned, this deals with the approval of the contract between the City of Cerritos and the City of Long Beach for continuation of animal control services. This contract covers the period between July 1, 2022 through June 30, 2024. And as you know, we have a 4-page report here before you, but just to focus in on your primary comments, and for the public, the City of Cerritos has been contracting with Long Beach Animal Control since 1989. They are the primary contract provider for animal care services. And as mentioned in the report, last year, well, actually several years ago, the Animal Control Services converted over to what is known as a Compassion Saves model. So that's minimal kill shelter. So they provide a lot of extra veterinarian services, and they keep the animals there much longer, which causes their cost to go up. So last year, they determined that their cost model to contract cities was unsustainable because what they were charging us was the price for an animal control officer for their time only within the city, because the city had contracted exclusively for one animal control officer to work our city as opposed to, regional model. Last year, the Animal Control Services determined that they could not maintain that model anymore with the people who contract with them. So what they've done in their cost model is built the cost of the services and to provide that animal control officer, and then provide the cost of or incorporate the cost of the animal care shelter itself, the operation and the maintenance and the food and the veterinarian services and all the overhead that it takes to run that shelter. They're using the same cost model for us as they do for other cities that contract with them, and it's also the same ratio for dollars based on population. So what they have done is taken their total expense, looked at the population that that animal care services provides to each city, divide that, and that's how they got their number. So I didn't know if there's a specific question that you had, or did you want me to go over the complete report? I'd be happy to do that as well.
Okay. Now, unless someone asks you to. Are there any questions? Okay, well, open to the public for comments. Is there anyone that wishes to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comments. I'd like to ask, should we link the increase, should we, we haven't increased our fees, license fees for pets in a good number of years. Should we have staff bring that back to us?
Sure, yes.
You think so? Okay, see, well, I'll go ahead and ask, do we have consensus? We have two now. I don't think we have consensus on it. Okay, do you have a motion to approve 7I?
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Linda Johnson, seconded by Chung Vo. Go ahead and vote.
The motion passes by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, we have no items under 8 for public hearings. We go to 9, 9A for new and old business. Robert?
Thank you, Mayor. New and old business item 9A follows up on past city council action related to an existing policy surrounding the naming and renaming of city facilities. The presentation this evening will be given by Ms. Titus, and following her presentation, she and Mr. Erkey and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. This item before you this evening for your consideration at your request and direction. As you may recall, at the September 28th, 2023 City Council meeting, an item was brought to you to consider the waiver of an existing policy to name a park facility after former City Manager Art Gallucci. At the conclusion of staff's presentation and after City Council discussion, the City Council directed that the policy for naming and renaming city facilities, which is policy number 7.06, be taken to the Policy and Procedure Ad Hoc Working Group for review and discussion. The working group met on October 20th, 2023 to discuss the current policy, and that committee and working group are now recommending an amendment to the existing policy. In summary, and as outlined in the staff report, identified in Exhibit 3, subsection J, it would allow any member of the City Council to request Council's consideration of requirement of considering names only after 1 year of death. Under extraordinary circumstances, any member may bring before the City Council and for consideration the name of a living person who, when it merits such consideration. The amendment further states that the item must be presented as a separate agenda item at a City Council meeting. I just want to reiterate tonight that this item before you is action. It's not intended to consider or approve the naming and renaming of any city-owned facility this evening. We're not recommending that. That's not part of the recommendation. We're simply here to discuss the consideration of amending the policy and allow the council to name or rename a facility after someone who is living, not waiting for that 1 year of death requirement, which is what is in the policy right now. Therefore, the recommendation before you is as follows. Number 1, review and discuss the information provided in the agenda report. Number 2, approve the amended policy for the naming and renaming of city facilities as presented and direct staff accordingly. That concludes my presentation. Mr. Lopez, Mr. Erkey, and I would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Turn the mic back on. Thank you, Sherry. Are there any questions of our staff? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and open for public comments. I do have one, card. I have Celia Spitzer.
Good evening. I speak in support of adding paragraph J to the policy 7.06. And by doing so, the council would have the wonderful opportunity to technically rename Cerritos Park East to Art Gallucci Park or something with a similar designation. As I stated in my presentation in September, recognizing Art in an ongoing way for his amazing over 50 years of service to Cerritos is something that should be done. He clearly, quote, and I quote from item C, has made a particularly meritorious and outstanding contribution to the city and the Cerritos community. Please vote to add proposed paragraph J and direct staff to proceed with the next steps to recognize just retired city manager in the renaming of CPE in his honor. And I do understand that would be a whole separate process, but at least have the opportunity. And just for your information, the ABC School District under Ed Code has, ever since they adopted and had made part of their policy about naming of facilities and renaming of facilities, person did not have to be dead. And so there are many facilities and schools that are named for people that either were living at the time or in some cases are still alive. Thank you.
Celia, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the council on this item? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public comments. We do have some written comments. Vita?
Thank you, Mayor, Honorable Mayor, and members of the City Council. The following individuals submitted written correspondence in opposition to the renaming of Cerritos Park East: Gail Grossman, Colleen and Gary Aldrich, Julie Shue, and Sue Carter. And that concludes the written correspondence received on this item.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion by council or discussion?
I have comments.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Before I start my comments, I just want to make it clear that my comments are not directed towards our former city manager, Art Gallucci. This is about a review and consideration of a potential waiver to our existing policy on the naming and renaming of a city facility. We were all elected to council by our residents to create policy, and we should be keeping in mind on how policy changes and waivers affect and benefit our residents. At the September 28th, 2023 council meeting, I was not in favor and voted no on having to amend and to consider having a waiver for our existing policy. There are reasons why cities, school districts have a policy of the naming and renaming of a facility to be considered only after 1 year of that person's death. Naming facilities after people who are still alive can be risky. While still alive, there's still plenty of time for that person to commit some wrongdoing, and then what? We are left with a facility with a name that could potentially bring negativity to our city. Then we will have to go through the process again of renaming it again and spending more money to do so. Again, I'm not referring to Art Gallucci. I'm referring to any name we place on a facility while the person is still alive. I realize that this is just a one-time waiver, but we are setting a dangerous precedence here for future councils to take the same action. Before you know it, future councils will be voting for waivers for other policies in our manual, and all it takes is a vote of 3. As a council, we should consider how this policy change is in the best interest of our residents. How does it benefit them? Did a resident ask that we change our policy so that we can rename a park? Did we get community input that they did not like the name Cerritos Park East? So these are questions I would ask myself. The only reason this waiver request is before us is to allow the one-time change of Cerritos Park East. That will actually end up costing our residents, if approved, our taxpayer dollars of $60,000. That's $60,000 that can be used for our residents. Aside from that, we completely bypassed our Parks and Recreation Commission. Are they not the advisory board to the council? Shouldn't they be given an opportunity to discuss this as well? I know at the September council meeting, it was said that this was a council request and it didn't need to go through the commission. But just because it doesn't have to, doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. What we need to do is gain the trust of our residents and to be transparent. City buildings, parks, and facilities all belong to our residents. They do not belong to this council. The residents are the stakeholders. They need a seat at the table. 3 people up here should not be making these types of decisions when we have 50,000 residents that need to be heard and included in the process. I urge this council to reject this motion and to have the city conduct a survey for residents to provide input and to give them an opportunity to express other ways and how would they like to honor Mr. Gallucci. I've heard other residents and they have come up with some brilliant ideas. Let's give them a chance to be heard. We did a survey for the renaming of our study rooms at the library. The city conducted a very successful survey on the renaming of the rooms, and in fact, they're doing another survey on what names they would like to keep. My question is, why are we not doing a survey for Cerritos Park East? Are we just picking and choosing what benefits this council, or are we doing what is best for our residents? That concludes my comments. Thank you.
Yes, Frank?
Thank you very much. So, what I'm looking at and considering as the elected council member of the city of Cerritos is hearing from the residents, because this matter of renaming Cerritos Park East just seemed to come from this side of the dais, and I didn't hear any residents bringing it up before the council started discussing it. The residents, our constituents, the people we represent, they did not bring this up. So now that it was brought up on this side of the dais, overwhelmingly, the residents are saying that they don't want Cerritos Park East renamed. So at the previous city council meeting, for this city council meeting, 5 residents submitted comments that they are against the renaming. 1 resident isn't in support of it. So it's overwhelmingly, the residents are overwhelmingly against renaming Cerritos Park East. In fact, at the meeting on September 28, almost 20 residents opposed the renaming of Cerritos Park East. And again, 1 resident was in favor of it. So again, the residents are overwhelmingly against the renaming of Cerritos Park East. So I'm hearing from the residents because it takes something, it takes some motivation, some interest, some strong feeling to get a resident to come and advocate for their position. And that's, you know, that's why I value and I'm thankful that we had a public comment in person on this issue, because public discourse is important. Robust discussion is important. Thank you to the public speaker for coming in and expressing her position. However, I look at all the public comments in totality from the September 28 meeting and from tonight's meeting, and we're at about 25-1 in terms of the public comments that we've received on this issue from our voters, from our residents, from our constituents. We're about 25 against it, and 1 is in favor of it. So now it's up to the city council members to decide if they're going to listen to the voters or be selfish and not listen to the voters and not listen to the residents and not listen to the constituents. Because significantly, Art Gallucci was sitting right there, and he said to everybody in this room, I'm not asking for this. So if what Art Gallucci wants, maybe that matters. Doesn't matter what Art Gallucci wants. If it matters what Art Gallucci wants, he said, I'm not asking for this. If it matters what the residents, our constituents want, then by almost a 25-1 ratio, the residents don't want the park to be renamed. So Art Gallucci doesn't want it. The residents don't want it. So that's why it would be selfish for this city council to rename the park for Art Gallucci so that we can get our names on a plaque with Art Gallucci's names. And I don't want to be selfish about that. I want to listen to the voters. I want to listen to the constituents. I want to listen to the residents. Just like the residents came in and they said, we like pickleball. We need more pickleball courts. This city council heard the residents, and we made the change to have more pickleball courts. That's an example of the public discourse, the robust discussion, open meetings, transparency, so we can represent our residents and do the job that they elected us to do, representing them, not our personal feelings about Art Gallucci, who said, I'm not asking for this. Just go back to the meeting. Let's play the meeting. He said, I'm not asking for this. He's okay with it. And you know what? He was okay with this policy when this council, in a thoughtful, deliberate fashion, with the support of our residents and the support of our constituents, we renamed Jim Edwards Park. And when you do it the right way, the honorable way, the ethical way, following the long-established policy that was put in place by our forefathers and foremothers on the city council, who this policy was always good for them. And this council respected, this council listened to the residents and respected and honored and thanked Jim Edwards the way the city of Cerritos allowed us to. And the residents appreciated it. We have a Jim Edwards Park in our city. It was a wonderful ceremony, and there was only community-wide, city-wide support for Jim Edwards Park. Why are we going to have a divided city consider Art Gallucci Park? Why can't it be something that organically, unanimously, wonderfully happens according to the history of the city of Cerritos and the policies in black and white of the city of Cerritos that have been good for our city since incorporation? We thoughtfully and deliberately follow our policies, and when we think about changing them, we don't do it on a whim. We do things transparently, thoughtfully, deliberately. So, this policy was determined and put in place by my predecessors on the city council. And this policy was good enough for Jim Edwards Park. And again, Art said, I'm not asking for this. And what I think about is, one way we're looking at this, it's like, it's hard to quantify an individual's contribution to our city. And individuals affect our residents in different ways. Maybe in the schools, maybe in the parks, maybe in this chamber, maybe in City Hall. So using Jim Edwards and Art Gallucci as examples, it's hard to quantify on a scale of 1 to 100 why they were deserving, why they would be deserving to have a park named after them. But what I think is, what we're saying is that Art Gallucci, if we rename Cerritos Park East for Art Gallucci by changing the policy, we're saying Art Gallucci is more deserving of having a park named after him than Jim Edwards. And I don't think every single resident in the Cerritos would agree with that, because there's a lot of residents in this city who are so thankful to this day that they knew Jim Edwards. And to tell you the truth, there's some residents in this city who don't know who Art Gallucci is. So I don't like the message that we're saying that Art Gallucci's contribution was objectively, definitively, quantitatively more important to our city as an individual than Jim Edwards, because we applied the policy to Jim Edwards. And now we're saying this policy that Jim Edwards was applied to this policy that applied to Jim Edwards, no, Art Gallucci doesn't have to go by this policy. We're going to get to the result we want by changing the policy by a divided vote, and then by naming the park after Art Gallucci a couple meetings from now by a divided vote. And we're gonna have a divided council and a divided city, and it doesn't happen unanimously, and it's not organic, and it's not going to be the same celebration of the life of Jim Edwards and the contributions of Jim Edwards that it would be for art if we did it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Any other comments?
I have some comments, Mayor. So back in the council meeting when we all decided that we were going to have this discussion about renaming the park for our former city manager, Art Gallucci, there was discussion about how we were going to waive that policy that we have and go ahead and do it. And if you remember, I spoke up and said that we shouldn't be violating policy that the council has created. That's not the right signal we want to send to the public. So in that sense, I said, let's bring it back to the policy and committee so we can look at it and do it the right way, regardless of what the outcome is going to be. So there was question who was on the policy committee and who's going to be on it. And, you know, the mayor and myself are the two committee members representing the council. It's an ad hoc committee. Anything on that council or that committee that's done is not final until the council as a whole votes on it and have discussion publicly like we're doing tonight. So we met. Unfortunately, I wasn't there in person because, you know, I just recently had knee surgery. So I had to call in. And conversations that we've had in that meeting somehow led me to believe that the direction that the committee was going was heading to a possible supermajority vote for this policy. And, you know, maybe because I just had surgery, I don't know, but I think I have pretty good memory of how the conversations went. I spoke with the city attorney because by the time we got this policy, there's no discussion about any supermajority vote to pass this policy. So my question was, what happened from the time the policy committee met and when this policy was written? Maybe I was the one that's mistaken. However, speaking with the city attorney, there was discussion that didn't conclude it that way. And just for the record, I wasn't proponent of the supermajority, but that was the discussion we had, and it would take 4 members of this council to make that request and change moving forward. And even though I didn't agree with it, I didn't understand how it got changed from the time we spoke and the time we got this agenda. And again, I'm not up here to do anything to benefit me. Although this policy is something I wanted, I think would be decent, how we got here is questionable. And I'm just a little concerned how we got here. Now, discussion about people writing in and having issues with this, they're residents, we want to hear them and appreciate the people that did come out to speak for or against. There's also a lot of folks that didn't want to write in that I've spoken to. Some were kind of on the fence about the whole thing. Some are for it, and very close friends of mine are against it. So it was a robust discussion amongst the community. And if we were going to gauge our decision based on 5 people writing in versus 1 people showing up, or vice versa, you know, one way or the other, and then we're going to use that as a gauge of what the community thinks, then we should do that every time. But we can't just pick and choose when we want to do that and when we don't. And that's where it comes back to, you know, as a council member, we have to vote on our conviction, what we believe in. And if we were going to say we're going to listen to 5 folks versus 1, or vice versa, 1 folks versus 5, then we should do that every single time. And I would like to say, let's look back at all the times when people did write in and spoken up here, and if we voted that way or not. So what I'm getting at is we can't pick and choose when we want to listen to the community and when we don't want to listen to the community. All right. So at the end of the day, when I speak to people, I've gone out and talked to folks, and I'm sure my council colleagues as well, not everyone wants to write in, not everyone wants to come and speak, but the ones that do write in and the one that do speaks make an effort, and I do weigh that. I do listen to that, and they make an effort to do so, and so I respect that, and I do take that a little bit more heavily than those that are not willing to come in. But they're still out there and they're still talking about it. But what I'm getting at is I do not understand how this policy got to this point, even though I'm on the committee. And by the time I got the written version of it, it was different than what I remember was discussed. So with that, I'm a little concerned about this. And with that, I don't know if even though this is not something, this policy in itself, the way it's written, I support, but I can't support how it got here. So that's my comment.
I'd like to point out, Frank, you talked about the forefathers. This policy came about in 2002, and I was on the council at that point, and it's one of the things that I was asking to have inserted. And it was done, what I've heard, from our staff and others, when you look at how these things move forward, it was done really, to slow the process down from, residents coming in making, requests. There was never a consideration that it applied to council. Council hadn't, in all the years I've been on, took the initiative, to have a park name. To have a survey done that has just a few hundred residents that respond to it out of 50,000 doesn't really represent the 50,000. Most residents that are happy with what's going on don't get involved too much. They get involved if someone tries to stir it up or something like that. Frank, to respond to wanting a name on a plaque, I did bring up at a council meeting that we have no plaques with our names on it. And I lost on that vote on a 4-1 vote. And I will still remain that I would prefer to have no names on plaques by the council. And I'll support any, motion, to do so. You talk about ethics and honor. The one thing I do know is you refer to the three of us on this side as if, we are not honorable and we are not ethical. And yet, the one thing that I've been aware is, it doesn't matter what the party is, the council that I've served with over the years has always been very ethical and very honorable. And we take these things seriously. And Chung, I'm not sure what you remember about how this got here. I think it was left to have staff draft something and bring it forward, because I never saw this language until the report came out. The other part is, I stand still that I think, Art has done far more than people recognize. Art has, basically lived this, for the city 24/7, for I know his 30-something years. So outside of his vacation time, where he still had phone calls from council members, he never got away from this, the city. But we were at this place to go ahead and look at the, the language. And what I'll do is I'll defer to council to make a motion.
For what?
On this item. Yeah, Chung, you raise a good point. That's the end of my comments. I'll go ahead and open to public comments.
We already did.
Okay, that's what I thought. If that's what you're referring to, I'm sorry.
I just have a comment.
Certainly.
I just want to say, whether it's 400 or 50,000 residents that we hear from, those 400 people matter to me better than not having no survey at all. So I just want to say to those 400 residents that also participated in the survey, I believe there were 400 that participated in the survey at the library, they matter to me. And my reference to 3 council members up here on the dais is not any particular 3, it's the majority vote of 3 of this council or any other future council when I'm off the council. So just want to make clarification on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and thank you. I mean, everything is recorded. I mean, the meetings in this chamber are recorded. So ultimately, just watch the meetings, or watch the meetings. Just even this meeting, the words that my colleagues and I are saying, it's being recorded, and I know what I said, and I stand by what I said, and I stand by my votes. I do what I believe is the right thing. I represent the residents. I represent my convictions. I represent what the residents of Cerritos elected me to do the right thing. And this meeting is recorded, and anybody can go back and watch and listen to what I said and listen to what my colleagues said. So don't, if you want to know what I said, watch the meeting, listen to my words. I stand by every single word I said, just like I stand by the words I said on September 28th. And that meeting is recorded. All the speakers who showed up, they were recorded. Their words were recorded. Their opposition to renaming Cerritos Park East was recorded, and it's memorialized in the minutes. So the minutes attached to our December 14 agenda report show approximately 16 people were opposed to renaming the park. Not 5, not a small number, 16 people were opposed to renaming Cerritos Park East on September 28, and then 1 person expressed appreciation for Art Gallucci. And that's great. I appreciate Art Gallucci. But 16 people expressed opposition to renaming Cerritos Park East. Just like at today's meeting, 6 people, through our transparent public comment process, 6 people expressed opposition to Cerritos Park East. So the residents who have the motivation and the conviction and the courage and the desire to express their position on this issue, it's been overwhelmingly against renaming Cerritos Park East, which has been the name of that park for me since I moved into Cerritos since 1976. So just like it shows in the agenda report, the only reason we're here today talking about selfishly naming Cerritos Park East after Art Gallucci, because it's selfish, because Art Gallucci didn't ask for it. He said, I'm not asking for this. Okay? So on September 28th, the only reason we're hearing this today is because my colleagues, my 3 colleagues to my right voted yes, and Linda and I voted no. Linda and I didn't want this to be on the agenda. My 3 colleagues on the right, they wanted this to be on the agenda so that they could change the policy or consider changing the policy and consider naming the park after Cerritos Park East, after Art Gallucci, who said, I don't want this. I'm not asking for this. And on September 28, Linda and I voted no. So it's all black and white. It's in the minutes. It's in the agenda report. It's on video. So, anybody saying, well, he said this, she said this, just watch the video, look at the minutes, look at the agenda reports. It's all black and white. just like it's in black and white that about 20 residents are against renaming it, against renaming Cerritos Park East, and one resident came forward because of appreciation for everything that Art Galucci did. Thank you.
It's all right. We have these new computers, and mine just went off and just now came back on again. Thank you, Aaron.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make a motion to add item J on our policy to add the name.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll go ahead and do the second on it.
I'd like to make a substitute motion.
Certainly.
I hope my motion will, I hope my colleagues will strongly consider my motion and hopefully to bring unity on this subject matter, because we don't want to be divided on this, particularly when it involves our former city manager. So hopefully this is the right thing we can do for our residents. My substitute motion is to direct the city manager, to direct staff, to create and conduct a survey asking residents if they would like to rename Cerritos Park East. That's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Can we have the screen up so we can vote on it? Thank you.
I made a substitute motion.
Yes, that's correct. Mayor and members of the council, this will be a vote on the substitute motion as articulated by Council Member Johnson.
The motion does not pass by a vote of 3 ayes and 3 noes and 2 ayes.
Okay, thank you. Now we have the main motions on the floor at this point.
The motion does not pass by a vote of 2 ayes and 3 noes.
Okay, is there any other motions at this point? Hearing none, that we'll move on to the next item on the agenda. Which is legislative items.
Thank you,
Robert?
Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. We do not have any legislative items to report this evening.
Okay, do you have any reports?
Thank you. No, we do not have any reports from my office or from staff this evening.
Okay, council communications. Naresh, do you want to start?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Attended the COG meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I relayed the message to our city manager that in February, Metro has approved the 605 Freeway South repairing at the South Street exit. And I think Fernando Dutra from Metro is supposed to come out and speak to our public. But apparently he was busy tonight, so he could not make it. He might be coming on the next council meeting. Second, I just want to wish everyone happy holiday and happy New Year, all the staff and all the directors, city manager, city clerk. And I do again like to ask all the staff members if they would like to say something regarding the holidays.
Okay.
So I'll start with the city manager. Right now.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Solanki. On behalf of our city staff, I would like to wish everyone in the community a happy and safe holiday season. And it's been a pleasure these past few months working directly with the City Council closely, as well as our wonderful team here. Yesterday, we had a city employee holiday lunch and recognition of employees who've achieved several milestones of service for the city. And it was my pleasure in yesterday's ceremony to talk about the many accomplishments that the city has made, in particular our wonderful staff and the hard work that they do every day. So I just want to dedicate my time at this point to thank them for their hard work this year and look forward to another wonderful year working with them and also with the City Council.
Okay, thank you.
Is Kathy?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. At this time, I would like to wish the community very happy holidays with their families and for a very happy New Year's to follow and much health and happiness to everyone.
City Clerk Vida Barron.
Well, I would like to thank the City Council for their leadership this year. The council's made it very easy for us to do things like off-site City Council meetings and made it easy for the staff to conduct those proceedings in a way that was legally compliant and easy also for the community. We want to thank you for that. Also, Feliz Navidad and Feliz Año Nuevo. To everyone in the community, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I also want to give a wonderful shout out to the wonderful staff and team here in the city of Cerritos. We could not do what we do in our office, or I know the City Council, without this wonderful team of colleagues that we have here. They're just incredible to work with. So happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Bill?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. To follow up on what Vita was just saying about what an honor it is to work with this council and work with the staff here. Throughout my career, I've worked with many cities, and I know I've mentioned this to a couple of the council members. This is a superstar staff. They are a joy to work with and bright and always asking questions when they know they should be asking me questions, and they make me feel very welcome when I need to ask them questions, so that I can make sure to answer your questions and make sure you get the best legal services possible. I would also like to echo happy holidays and hope everyone has a wonderful new year, and looking forward to a very productive 2024. Thank you.
Yes, Daryl, I guess we just start from that all the way.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for this opportunity to offer a couple remarks and reflect on 2023. I too want to express my gratitude to City Council for your unwavering support of public safety, and to staff, including the deputy sheriffs, for the folks who are out there, working every day and late at night and on the weekends to make the city safe and a very desirable place to live. Also want to thank my staff personally for all the hard work that they do to keep the city looking aesthetically pleasing and keeping it safe. Also want to express my gratitude for having the opportunity to work for Art Gallucci for almost 9 years. As everyone here knows, he's an exceptional individual. Learned a lot from him, and I'm very appreciative that I had the opportunity to work for him. And also glad that I have an opportunity to work with City Manager Robert Lopez as he assembles his new team here going in the future. I know there's many good things coming our way, both as staff and for the community, so grateful for that opportunity. And just wanted to wish everyone happy holidays as well. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just want to go ahead and say thank you. What we do, I think, collectively here is hard work. You guys have hard work, we do hard work, and it couldn't be done without the support of the City Council, the City Manager, and really each other. So I just want to thank everybody that I get the joy of working with every day. And then, the last couple of years, I've made it a point, and I'd like to do the same, to thank the business community and the property owners, because without their investment and the city's commitment to economic development, which couldn't happen without a collaboration of the city, those stakeholders, we wouldn't be the great city that we are today. So thank you to council, the executive management team and staff, and happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for giving me the opportunity. I'd like to mirror the feelings of my fellow colleagues here. Everyone here at the city is amazing and wonderful to work with. I'd personally like to thank the Public Works staff for supporting us and supporting the entire city in all the efforts that they do on a daily basis to keep our city clean, keep our city functioning, and keep our city running. Very much thank all the residents at home and all the businesses that have supported us, and absolutely all the council and the commitment that they've shown to the Department of Public Works and the city in general with their commitment to continue this city to be beautiful as it always has been. I would like to extend a warm welcome to happy holidays, to whichever holidays any residents may celebrate this time of year. And for myself personally, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. It's 2023 has been a great year. It's been a year of transition, and I'm very thankful for the guidance and leadership that you on the Council have provided. I'm also extremely grateful for the opportunity to work with such a great team. A lot of what we do here wouldn't happen without the support and hard work of the crew that you see before you and those that are behind the scenes. Personally, I'm very fortunate and thankful to have an outstanding staff working for me in the Finance and Water Billing Division, and wouldn't be where we are now without them. And so thank you to the council and to the staff. And I'd just like to extend my best wishes to everyone for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I'm going to use my time to shamelessly plug the Santa Float, which tomorrow is the last day. We also have our Santa Holiday Island coming up on Saturday. The weather's going to be great. Southern California Christmas celebration at about 80 degrees. So come on out. We've got Santa and lots of fun stuff, some entertainment, local entertainment and the like. So I went to the Art Gallucci School of Municipal Government, and I'm very thankful for that. My entire career has been here in the city of Cerritos, and I'm just fortunate to have worked under his tutelage for so long. I'm super excited to work with this guy because he's pretty amazing and very sharp. We, as a team of people, are only as good as the people that work under us, and I've got about 200 pretty darn amazing people. We are the people. I think we touch more lives literally in this community than probably anyone. Maybe water billing, I don't know. Okay. But in the face-to-face, we get to see the residents, and all of your efforts, all of your financial support and funding and all the things you allow us to do, we get to see the smiles on the faces. So thank you. I celebrate Christmas, so Merry Christmas. Whatever you celebrate, have a happy one. And I can't believe it's 2024. It's amazing. Thanks.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to express my thanks to our city council, our city administration, and all of the staff. Everybody works together so well collaboratively. I think people understand Cerritos is extremely special, and it's because of the people here and how hard everybody works. And I'd like to thank the teams in communications and at the library. We have some really talented, dedicated, creative people that bring a lot of pride to their work and really want to do the best for the citizens of this community. So I am just very grateful to work here and grateful that we got to work with Art Gallucci and that we had such a nice transition to a new stellar leader in Robert Lopez. And I think the staff has really enjoyed working with him so far, and we all look forward to working together to accomplish the goals that the City Council sets out for us. And I just want to wish everybody a very happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you.
Good evening again. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and wish everybody a happy holidays and happy new year. I too echo the comments and sentiments of my colleagues. It is a truly terrific city to work for. I've worked for a few cities in my career. Of course, the longest run being here with the great city of Cerritos. So I'm very thankful for that. I am incredibly grateful for the staff over at the theater department. We've done some really amazing work this year for the city of Cerritos, for the local community, for the businesses, and of course for surrounding communities as well. We were asked to increase our show counts and reintroduce arts education to the community and a few other programs. And we've done that, I think, very, very well, and that's really because of the staff and the theater department working so hard to do that on behalf of the city. And I can tell you, I speak with them frequently. I am a big fan and advocate of managing by walking around. So I speak with the staff frequently. They're all very proud to work for the city of Cerritos, very proud of their theater department, of course, Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts, which is, of course, an entertainment venue icon in Southern California. So we're very fortunate to have that here in Cerritos, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to take care of that wonderful facility and program for you. Happy New Year and happy holidays.
I would just like to say how grateful I am to be a part of the Cerritos team. I think that the state of this great city is due in part to the hard work and the collaboration of all of us staff, all of the staff in the city council. And it's just an honor to be able to say that I'm on Team Cerritos. So with that, I'd like to wish everyone here, everyone at home, a safe and a joyful holiday and continued success in the new year.
Thank you, Council, for this opportunity. I, too, feel very privileged to work for such a beautiful city like Cerritos, where we have such a talented team who are very supportive. And we also have the opportunity to serve such a caring, wonderful, involved, and diverse community. And it makes it adds to the importance, the sense of purpose in what we do, because the people here really care. I wish everyone a healthy and happy holiday season.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak and share our gratitude and just well wishes, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to the Cerritos community. It's been an honor to serve the community over the last year. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the MIS Division for all their hard work, their efforts, and all their accomplishments this year. And lastly, I'd like to wish the City Council, City Executive Team, and all my colleagues a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
I know we have our HR Director, Patricia, would like to say something.
She thought she got away.
The mic is right there, Patricia, just in case you can't find it.
Is this on? Can you hear me? Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you very much for this opportunity to address you and to address our residents and my colleagues. I want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you and have a successful year next year. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, our staff and hardworking staff, talented staff make us all look good here. And your hard work is really, really appreciated, not by the council, but our community and our residents. So thank you all, and have a safe and a happy holiday. And Mayor, before I end, I'd like to have a consensus again to bring the item back for the renaming of the park.
Okay.
I concur.
Okay. And I concur, so that makes 3 to do that. But let me ask you, what would you like different from a staff report?
Let's have that discussion for when they bring it back.
Okay. At this rate, it could take a whole year, so it won't be needed if that was part of the consideration.
Could I please ask a question?
Certainly.
Mr. City Attorney, is this a motion for reconsideration?
I don't believe so, because the item that was before this evening was a request or a proposal to amend the policy. If I understood the consensus request, it was just to directly address the naming of the park.
So by doing so, then we would not be following policy, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, Linda, before we get to you, because I was going to ask you to speak next, watching what we just saw, with each of you speaking, it reminded me of something that, unless someone really knows, or we mention your name from a staff report, no one knows who's speaking. Is it? Would council agree that we should have, a plaque or something with each individual's name, for those at home, that they could identify that, especially, for the people that they really like?
I guess that's the errands department.
If I may, council members, our communications division does produce the videos that are published, including the city council meeting videos. And there is what's called a lower third. It's the name of the staff and their title that's usually displayed, such as right now.
Yeah, just right now.
Yeah. There may be a way in post-production to go back and add that. Possibly we can look into it, but typically that is done by our staff who are backstage, if you will.
Okay, I just watched them while they were speaking. The names that didn't show.
Show it in the video. We'll be showing everybody's name tonight.
Yeah, no, it didn't show. It just showed Roberts right at the end. Is this something that we're going to do?
Yeah, typically when we have a staff member who's going to be presenting an item, we have the information queued in our computer program. So any staff member who's making a presentation on an item, typically they'll have that prepared. For tonight's impromptu remarks, unfortunately, that wasn't prepared this evening.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll withdraw my request then. Now, Linda, update on your...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased to share that I have been recently appointed to the Asian Pacific American Municipal Officials, which is called the APAMO Board of Directors. APAMO is a caucus within the National League of Cities. I'm going to forego reporting out what events I attended and instead take this time to acknowledge our employees and staff for their hard work this year. So if my colleagues will indulge me, over the past few months, I've been making my rounds and meeting with our city departments. It's been great getting to know our employees, and one thing I've learned is that they all love working for Cerritos. I've met with Cerritos Public Works and Water and Power. They work hard making our streets, sidewalks, trees, and parks to make sure they're maintained and also make sure we have clean water. They are working in the hot sun, in the rain, and in the cold weather to make Cerritos look beautiful. Our Community Participation Division at the Senior Center are a small but mighty group. Not only are they hard working every day providing services, meals, programs for our seniors, but they are also responsible for the special events in Cerritos such as Veterans Day, Memorial Day, tree lighting, employee recognition luncheon, and much, much more. The Cerritos Administrative Services Department are responsible for our day-to-day operations, including budget, finance, water billing, HR, risk management, support services, MIS, and communications. Many of them got their start at Parks and Recreation, and it's great to see that they have stayed with Cerritos for so long. Aside from attending shows at the CCPA, I also met with our Cerritos Center for the Performing Arts Department. From business management, marketing, front of house, operations, security, special events, and ticket office. Aside from the theater performances, they are responsible for setting up our summer concerts, Veterans and Memorial Day events, off-site council meetings, tree lighting, and many more. I'm only halfway done making my visits to our departments. I still have community and safety services, community development, city clerk's office, and next Monday I'll actually be at recreation services. So I'll report out on those visits next year. But I really want to thank all of our employees for your dedication and service to our residents and our city. It is just a testament to our leadership here in the city on why so many chose Cerritos as a place to work. Happy holidays to my council colleagues, City Manager Robert Lopez, Assistant City Manager Kathy Matsumoto, City Clerk Vita Barone, and City Manager Bill Erkey. Thank you to all our directors and managers, especially those that are here twice a month. I appreciate all of you for always being supportive to us and your commitment to our city. A shout out to my appointees and also all the other council appointees for the commissioners and committee members that serve our great city. And last, happy holidays to our residents. May you all have a wonderful time this season with your friends and family. Thank you for being the best part of Cerritos. Tomorrow's the last day of the Santa Float. I will be riding on it with some of my commissioners and committee members. So please look out for us, and we'll wish you a happy holiday greeting. See you all in 2024.
Okay, Chung.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been a busy 2 weeks, especially with the holidays. We get a lot of invitations and invites, and I try to attend all of them. I normally don't really go down the list, but because it's the holiday, I wanted to recognize some of the events that I was asked to attend. First off, on November 30th, at the Skyline Room, the mayor and myself was at the Children's Art and Short Story ceremony at the library. It was really pleasant to hear all the stories and the paintings and the drawings and arts, and could hear some of the kids actually read their stories. It was interesting and fun and see their reaction. December 2nd, it was a Saturday, attended the City Council Strategic Planning meeting. At that meeting, unfortunately, it was not televised. There was discussion, just to let the public know that hopefully moving on to the next meeting that will be televised for the public. That's something we're working on. A lot of things came out of that meeting, and I just appreciate staff for the hard work putting that together, and of course all the direction that the City Council gave. On December 4th, I attended the City Clerk's open house, where they had really good treats. The tradition is now growing and it's getting bigger. I'm just curious, who won the contest?
It was Kara from the Finance Division, and she submitted the, how should we say, most interesting ornament, and it happened to be of the past 2 Halloween costumes of our finance manager, Ryan Carey.
Oh,
That
so
was the
you won
big
the
winner.
ugliest ornament
Yes.
contest, Ryan. Is what
Well,
I'm hearing.
I would say a most interesting ornament.
Okay. Well, I heard the competition was the most ugliest. Did you changing it right now?
Well, you
This
know,
is what
it's the
happens.
holiday season. I'm filled right now with the holiday spirit, to quote my colleague, Ryan Carey. So
Well, congratulations, Ryan. That's a good award. Okay, and then after that, as I was mentioned a few times, the Santa Float is something that has been, I guess, a tradition now since COVID 2020. And on December 4th, I kicked it off that night with my family and some members of the community. And I just want to say how appreciative I am of that float and the staff. It's an evolving process every year. We have to maintain it every year. We it's almost like something that constantly breaks down. Staff's out there fixing it, and we had issues with some of the the speakers here and there. But Sherry and her staff, they did everything they could to make sure that the residents of Cerritos would experience the spirit of Christmas and to see Santa come by their house. I've been contacted by people in the community. They've reached out to me personally, as well as sending me texts. People that I don't even know would reach out to me through social media, sending me messengers, and just to say thank you for the float, for the city to provide that to our community. And residents now are planning their traditional Christmas parties and stuff around the dates of our floats. And I remember when this first started, that was the discussion, how other cities had this, particularly the city of Torrance, and families would literally plan their generational parties from grandma all the way down to grandkids around the Santa Float. And we're starting that here, and I'm hearing that. And let me just read something that somebody said. I won't mention the name, but I want to read one of the text messages, numerous ones that I've got. And it says, "The float was one of the best things that came out of COVID. And we have built a whole magical family tradition around its arrival in our neighborhood, with magic gifts that appear after Santa drives by. LOL. We had an absolute blast on Monday. I didn't know, and I'll just stop there. But my point is that although we may not get every single resident that comes out, I know the ones that do make an effort and remember the time to come out and to interact with the Santa float, I know it makes a huge impression to our residents. So I just want to thank the staff for continuing to bring that on board every single year. This is now our 4th year. And, residents are saying that hopefully this will be a tradition. I've always said that I hope it will be, and so far we're doing it. One of the things that we ran into, Sherry, is the maintenance of this float. And I know that there's concerns about, updating it and making sure that it's constantly there for the residents year round or every year. And, when the time comes, I'm just giving my council members a heads up that I know we budget it every year. I think about 10,000 that goes into the maintenance and so forth. I remember because we talked about that a couple budgets ago. Because things have cost so much. For example, we reached out to a company not too far away, and we were hoping that they would give us some quotes to update some of the lights, and that cost came back to, it was enormous. It was too much, and at the time we didn't have the time to really make it work, but it was too much, and so that just led me to believe that we need to consider maybe increasing that budget annually. So that way we can maintain that float for our residents that love it so much. But I'll ask for that when it comes to budget time. On December 5th, 2023, I attended the ABC School Board meeting, the transition of the old president into the new. And I just wanted, I was there to represent the council and to thank outgoing President Brad Beach for his service at the ABC School Board. December 6th, I attended the first CEB meeting at Liberty Park. And then December 7th, I attended the Southeast Water Coalition board in the city of Vernon. And, I met council members there, and one of the council members from Vernon, and I thought it was very interesting. I didn't know this at the time, but their city has a population of 225 people. That's it for the whole entire city. And then I compared them to us, and I know that we have a sheriff's department of personnel, around 65 deputies assigned to a city of Cerritos, which has about a population of 50,000. Their police department has 60 police officers for a population of 225. So, we've always wanted the ratio of public safety personnel to be 1-to-1 with, that's ideal. But a lot of cities can't do it. Vernon has the opposite issue. They have more officers there than residents. And in actuality, they have more employees than the whole entire city resident. So I thought that's interesting.
But it also helps that they are the largest city in terms of industrial. Mm-hmm. And their daytime population is greater than ours.
Yeah, a lot of business there. December 9th, I attended the Tri-Star basketball competition hosted by the city and assisted by the Optimist Club of Cerritos. Saw a lot of individuals compete. I couldn't stay too long, but I was there enough to shoot a free throw with one hand on a crippled leg and made it the first try. So I thought I'd throw it out there. A lot of people said I couldn't do it, but I made it. December 11th, I attended the Friends of the Library holiday reception along with the mayor, and we had a great event with the Friends of the Library. For those who don't know, the Friends of the Library are the people who volunteer to assist Annie and the team over there with services for our community through the library. And then December 12th, I attended the La Palma transition reception again for the outgoing mayor and incoming mayor. I represented our city and given a proclamation to outgoing Mayor Debbie Baker. And then this morning, December 13th, I assist with loading toys from an event in Long Beach to deliver to the ABC Cares program at Fetty Middle School. And then December 13th, we all attended, minus one because of emergency, but we attended the employee Christmas party. And I just want to say how nice to see that the services are being recognized by the city and by council for those employees that gave their time and effort to make our city what it is. So I want to thank the city manager, my council colleague for providing that event, but also to those employees who received those awards and the outstanding work, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you. And then for those who don't know, on the corner of La Palma and why can't I think of it right now? Valley View. No, I'm sorry. Moody is the headquarters of JPIA, and I am on the JPIA exec board there, and we had a meeting December 13th. And for those who don't know, JPIA, if you notice, when you drive by there, that corner where that spall is and the fishing tackle, it's all fenced up now because JPIA has acquired that property, and they'll be developing it to make it similar to how it looks like at the campus, but to make that into a high-tech movie production, digital production type of business there. Not a business, building. And so to provide the services that all of our member cities need. And so just in case people are wondering, in the city of La Palma, that's what's going on over there. And I attended a shovel event there. And with that, I want to wish everyone a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, whatever holiday you celebrate during this time. Like Sherry said, some celebrate Christmas. I myself am Buddhist, but I do celebrate the spirit of Christmas with Santa and gift giving. And I just want to tell those out there to have a safe holiday. This is the time when opportunities come up for those who want to take advantage of opportunities. So please be mindful of your surroundings, watch your loved ones, take care of them, and don't let those folks who take those opportunities, don't give them those opportunities to take. So with that, Merry Christmas to my colleagues and to the staff, and I can't wait to see everyone again next year.
Thank you, Chuck. Frank?
Thank you. So on November 16 through 18, I attended the National League of Cities City Summit in Atlanta, Georgia. And the National League of Cities is a national organization of cities, towns, and villages, and they have a membership of 2,725 cities across the nation. And I'm excited and honored that I was elected president of APAMO for 2024. APAMO is the Asian Pacific American Municipal Officials, and it is one of the 6 constituency groups that is a part of the National League of Cities. I look forward to working with my officers and my board of directors in 2024. I want to correct you, Linda. Linda said she was appointed as a board member of APAMO. She was elected. You were elected as a board member by the membership at the meeting, at the APAMO general meeting at the National League of Cities in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is going to be an exciting year for National League of Cities because they are celebrating their 100th year as an organization, and their CEO, Clarence Anthony, has promised a lot of excitement and surprises for their 100th year, including their events in 2024. On November 28, I was excited and deeply honored to represent the city of Cerritos and the Filipino community as an elected official at the White House for the Filipino American History Month celebration at the Eisenhower Executive Office building. I proudly attended the White House celebration with my fellow electeds and good friends, including Melissa Ramoso from Artesia, Arlene Rojas from Carson, Jocelyn Manalo from Daly City, and Cerritos' own Secretary of Labor, Julie Su. I want to thank the White House for recognizing Filipino Americans One of the featured speakers at the celebration was Secretary of Labor Julie Su, and as she was addressing the crowd, she spoke about how it was so important to her that she grew up in a diverse city called Cerritos. And when she made that statement to everybody in attendance at the celebration, I pumped my fist in the air and yelled out Cerritos 2 times. And she smiled and said, "Oh, there's fans of Cerritos in here." The celebration included recognitions of Filipino Americans throughout different aspects of society, and they recognized, like sports and entertainment, and they also recognized Filipino Americans in government, and they had a slideshow, and during the slideshow of Filipinos Americans in government, they had a slide of our former mayor, Mark Polito. And I pumped my fist in the air and I yelled Cerritos. So Cerritos was represented at the White House at the Filipino American History Month celebration with myself and Julie Su and Mark Polito. On November 29 and November 30, I attended the League of California Cities League Leaders event in Carlsbad. I had the honor of being invited to that event because I am the chair of the Governance, Transparency, and Labor Relations Committee, one of their policy committees. And it was a valuable informational League Leaders event, getting the League of California Cities getting ready for the upcoming year, deciding collectively on 4 policies that the League of California Cities will be focusing on and addressing and advocating to our state legislators in the upcoming year. On December 6 and 7, I attended the Southern California Association of Governments Economic Summit in downtown Los Angeles. I was joined by my colleague, Linda Johnson, and also with community development staff for this important economic event. I brought back economic information and population information and statistics that we got at the economic summit for the city manager and the city council, which shows where SCAG thinks we're going in our economy in the upcoming year. On December 11 and December 12, because I am the president of APAMO, I attended the National League of Cities Constituency Group's President's Leadership Fly-In at the National League of Cities headquarters in Washington, D.C. I'm honored to be president of APAMO and getting to work together on those 2 days with my fellow presidents. And I also got to know the NLC staff that will be supporting me and my officers and my board of directors in the upcoming year. And it was a very inspirational, motivational event, and it was about friendship and allyship and just getting to know the other electeds from across the country that represent the other 5 constituency groups, Hispanic, Black, LGBTQ+, Indigenous people, and women. Yesterday, I attended the All Cities reception in downtown Los Angeles, got to see our colleagues from across Southern California, as well as state electeds who attended. It was good catching up with friends and making new friends. Significantly, I'm so glad that I was able to catch up with and share some appetizers and share some photos with the representatives from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department who showed up at the event and, of course, talked about Cerritos. I want to make sure that I give a shout out to a person that has been there for me since 2017, helping me every single, with every single request. You know, really, I could say she's helped me every single month that I've been on the city council with something. There's always something that she's helped me with every single month since 2017. So I want to give a shout out to Lori Kajiwara, our friend. I saved this for last. Mr. Mayor, I respectfully ask if we can close this meeting. In memory of Ethan Jaleb Soriano. June 15, 2006, November 6, 2023. Ethan was well known for his basketball ability. He fell in love with sports at a young age and began playing basketball at the age of 3. His parents recall that one of his first words was ball. He proudly played for numerous teams such as Marathon Hoops, the Truth OC, and the NYS Lightning. It was on the Lightning squad that Coach Brian nicknamed him Sorry, due to another teammate who also shared the same first name. Ethan also participated in the city of Cerritos recreational program every year, where he played basketball, baseball, football, and soccer, and eventually ended up working as a scorekeeper for the city Recreational Services Division through high school. After dislocating his knee in the 8th grade, which necessitated surgery and numerous hours of physical therapy, Ethan was sidelined from basketball for 3 years. Through a combination of tireless effort, and determination, and what I see as perseverance, he overcame these obstacles and secured a spot on the Cerritos High School JV basketball team, helping them win the 605 division his junior year. He later gained a spot on the varsity team and was looking forward to playing his senior year. Ethan was described as the ultimate teammate, the epitome of hard work and perseverance by Cerritos High. Ethan was not only a hard worker on the court, but also an excellent student, taking AP classes and earning a Scholar Athlete Award for maintaining a 3.5 GPA. He was in the sports medicine pathway at Cerritos High School and contemplating a career as a doctor or starting his own physical therapy practice. His own physical therapy experiences from multiple sports injuries inspired him to want to help others get better. He aspired to be like his idol, Kobe, and was determined not to become another statistic. He wanted to recover from his injuries and perform at his best. When he was not playing basketball, Ethan enjoyed listening to music, playing video games such as NBA 2K, and spending time with his family and friends making TikToks, drinking boba, and walking his dogs, Suki, Ili, and Isa. He was also a member of several clubs, including the Key Club, where he served as an officer, and Club Kaibigan, where he learned traditional Filipino dances and performed at both Cerritos and Whitney High School's Filipino Cultural Night. Ethan especially enjoyed performing modern dance routines with his friends. In solemn remembrance, the family announces the passing of Ethan Jaleb, the second son among 3 siblings. Ethan was a loving brother and son. He is fondly remembered by his surviving family members, including his mother, Susie, father, Eric, and his brothers, EZ and Dre. Within the family, he held a special place as the middle child, and his departure leaves an irreplaceable void. Ethan's indomitable spirit and remarkable talents were evident throughout his life, earning him the admiration of his loved ones. His brothers lovingly described him as a person who excelled in every endeavor. Reflecting on their bond, his brother Andre shared, "I can never win an argument against him. He always proved me wrong. He was so smart. I learned a lot from him." In heaven, Ethan is reunited with his beloved grandmother and the cherished French bulldog of his uncle Adolfo. Ethan is and will always be a beacon of hope, strength, and integrity. He applied the ideas to all facets of his life, not just basketball. Despite his competitive nature, he possessed selflessness, kindness, thoughtfulness, and compassion, always seeking to better the lives of those around him. In celebrating his life, we honor Ethan's enduring legacy of wisdom, camaraderie, and love. And as his legacy lives on, he will continue to serve as a guiding light and inspiration to all. May he rest in eternal peace. A mass will be held in his honor on December 29, 2023, at Holy Family Church in Artesia at 10 a.m. with interment immediately following at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Cypress. Viewings will take place on Wednesday, December 27 and Thursday, December 28 from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Patriot Chapel at Forest Lawn Cemetery in Cypress. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think I shared with you, our community is a very small community. It's much smaller than, you hear numbers that are close to 50,000. Ethan's uncle, I coached, him in basketball. My kids went to school. They remember Ethan's dad very well. And I know there's many people that have been touched by this, throughout the whole community. I want to go through a couple things first before we move on to our closed session. Jeff, you mentioned the Friends of the Arts. We had a conversation on them about the arts and education. I'd like to ask council for concurrence to direct staff to bring back an item for us to resurrect the nonprofit aspect of the Friends. George Ray and I had a conversation that there's a good number of corporations that used to donate money for this aspect, for the kids. They can't do it without a nonprofit on this side, to accept it. And I'd like to, if staff could, reach out to George, talk with him about his ideas, and then have staff bring it back, to us. Somewhere that, and I have two yeses the sides. Okay, so it looks like it's, I think you have direction, to do so. Along with it, I've had conversation on and off over the years. As far as I know, we have no contracts that relate to the booths or the naming of parts, within the Performing Arts Center. And we have people that paid money 30 years ago. They have their name on a booth, and they haven't had to put another dime in. There's not a maintenance fee. There's nothing there. And the normal procedure in other places is to have an annual maintenance fee or relinquish it. I've known folks that have been long dead and their names are still around. So I'd like to have concurrence from council, consensus, to have staff look into that and, have our attorney look at it to see if we can come up with new language to address, how to, to market, a booth, the name on it, to bring back ideas on the annual fees. I did reach out to George again at the same time we talked on the other item. And, he had a couple suggestions. He didn't think that we should, put huge fees on it, maintenance fees. But it should be enough for them that's it's reasonable for us to expect something, back in, because it would help the operation of the theater. And, with that, I'd ask for a consensus also.
Mayor, but the what was the agreement? Do we know the agreement that the?
There's none.
There's no agreement.
There's no agreements. There's no contracts. There's nothing.
Okay.
And besides that, would you sell something for 30 years based on a 1-year fee?
Nope.
Yeah, to me, it's only reasonable. It looks like we have concurrence again.
Yes.
Just following the arts program, it was mentioned that Chung brought it up, that the arts program at the library, the other night, is something that I've attended, many times over the years. It's been put on by the library. The one thing is outside the parents coming, I would highly recommend others, to come, because to sit and listen to a young child read a essay that they wrote, it's just amazing what they think of and how well they communicate and how well they perform in front of, a good sized audience. The arts program, the visual part is well worth looking at. I know when I've gone down to the, arts programs down in Laguna Beach, and they have that one section with all the youth in it. It's, there's some amazing artwork to look at. And I think a number of us went to an event that our Congresswoman put on. And it's the same type of deal. Those from Cerritos that were there, amazing artwork. So it's something that I would, highly recommend. The other is, yesterday we had recognized the, I guess the milestone, employment milestones, 5-year marks, 10-year marks for our employees. And it's always amazing to see the large number, because we had 77 people that had earned anywhere from a 5-year award up through 45 years. And, even though all of them couldn't make it, it's a very, very large number. And when Chung, when you mentioned about it, the number of employees we have, to have that many of them be here that long speaks very well for the city and, the service that we receive, as residents. And then I want to, Chung, thank you again for the Santa's float. You were the champion to bring it here, from your experience in Torrance. Each time that I've been on it, I've tried to bring people on it that have never rode on a float, would not been exposed to it. And this last time, we had a number of residents of different ages, but, our float did break down. The lights didn't work. So it was shut off for about, 20, 25 minutes. But the young kids on the float, I think there's 4 or 5 of them, they started singing Christmas carols. And a lot of residents kind of grouped around and they started singing with them. Just a different way of having, the interaction. It's something that I think is going to bode well for the city. It's something that people look forward to. Sherry, you and your staff have done a great job on that, which before I get my last item, Sherry, where is the float going to be tomorrow? I have something in the script here, and it says, it doesn't make sense. Part on the west side, part on the east side, all at the same time.
Yeah, we're way on the west side tomorrow.
Okay.
We
My,
kind of
my thing
flipped
says it's going to
everything.
be on the east side.
Oh, it's
That's why I was asking.
Yes, it's the west. Yes. In the past years, we have started further away from the yard and then come closer to the yard as we ended, but we flipped everything this year. And we also added a night, split up one of the routes so it wasn't quite as long. And I think that worked out really well.
I think I might have benefited on the short night. So thank you.
Possibly.
And I just want to thank the council. I think we've been making great progress. There's lots of things that have we've worked on over the last several years, and I want to wish each of the council members a happy holiday. Same for our staff and our, I do appreciate all the comments that you made. And Rich, thank you for doing what you did every year, right? But anyway, I want to say happy holidays to each of you and to our residents. And with that, we are closing in memory, even though we're going to close session, but of, Ethan Soriano. And Bill, if you can take us to the closed session.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Tonight, there are 3 closed session items. First item is conference with legal counsel for existing litigation pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9, Subdivision D1. The name of the case is City of Whittier et al. Versus the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles et al. Orange County Superior Court, case number 23STCP 03579. The next 2 closed session items are both conference with labor negotiators pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6. Agency negotiators are Robert Lopez, City Manager, Bill Erkey, City Manager, and Patricia Leyva, Personnel/Risk Manager. One item for the employee organization, AFSCME Local 619. And the last item for unrepresented employees, full-time exempt. And with that, the council can recess to close session.
And we are recessed.